Good morning, boys and girls. Today is Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. Let's look at the calendar. Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. So let's mark off another day. Getting close to the end of April now. We are only one day away from the end of April. You guys have done such good work all the while you've been at home. Keep up the good work and hand in your papers when you can. There's a box at church. Now, I'm going to start out this morning with one of our tales of virtue. That's the little books that I read that tell you a little lesson. And it is one of those books that only has little tiny pictures on the side and kind of a lot of words. So relax and listen to this tale of virtue called Wisdom. King Midas. They said King Midas had the gold touch. Once there was a king named Midas who ruled a magical land of roses and sunshine. King Midas was rich beyond imagination, but he was also very selfish and foolish. He never enjoyed the warm sunshine or wonderful flowers of his beautiful kingdom. Instead, King Midas liked to spend his days in a room in the basement of his castle where he kept his gold. Every day, King Midas locked himself in the vault so he could count his money without anybody bothering him. There was nothing that Midas would rather do than count his riches. His gold made him feel important, and he loved to surround himself with it. He would even throw hands full of gold in the air and pretend it was raining gold. Each morning at the crack of dawn, King Midas headed straight to the vault. He stayed with his gold until he went to sleep at night, and even then he dreamed on how to get more. King Midas had a kind and beautiful daughter named Marigold. She was very different from her father. Marigold didn't pay any attention to gold, and she was not at all selfish. Marigold liked to spend her days outdoors. Day after day, Marigold walked happily among the roses in the garden. It was her favorite place. She loved taking care of all the beautiful flowers and watering them so they would grow to be even taller than she was. There was nothing Marigold liked better than smelling the sweet scent of the roses and watching the pretty butterflies as they flew about. Marigold was sorry that her father never joined her in the garden. She wished he would leave his gold and come outside to see what a lovely place she had created. She was certain that her father would really enjoy her flowers, especially the beautiful roses. She knew that he would see that they're much more beautiful than just piles of gold. One day Midas was busy counting his gold in the vault when a mysterious stranger appeared. "How did you get in here?" asked King Midas. "Well," said the stranger, "I have magical powers." "My, you certainly have a lot of gold." "Yes," said Midas, "but I could always use more." "I could give you the power to turn everything you touch into gold," said the stranger. "Would you like that?" "Yes, yes, of course I would," Midas excitedly said to the stranger. "I would like it very much." "Very well," said the stranger. "After the next sunrise, everything you touch will turn into gold." King Midas spent that night wide awake, staring through the window at the castle. He could hardly wait for the sun to rise. When the dawn's light finally appeared, Midas reached to push away the curtain, and it turned into solid gold. Then Midas grabbed his chair. It turned into gold, too. Midas grew very excited with his new magical power. He ran from room to room, touching everything he could reach: tables, mirrors, candlesticks, paintings, and doors. Just like the mysterious stranger had promised, everything turned into gold. Then King Midas rushed from his castle into the garden. He knew that is where his daughter's favorite place was. Midas laid his hands on a rose, and it turned from scarlet red to gold. How delighted Marigold will be, Midas said to himself, when she finds I have turned all her flowers into precious gold. Soon the king's stomach began to rumble. Changing things to gold made him very hungry. He was also quite tired from having stayed up all night. Midas returned to the castle and ordered a delicious breakfast for himself. Servants brought plates piled high with the freshest fruit, the warmest bread, and the tastiest cheese. But as soon as Midas touched his food, it changed to gold. Midas was hungry, but he couldn't eat. Then King Midas grabbed a goblet of water and raised it to his lips, but the water turned to gold too. Suddenly Marigold came into the room. She held a gold rose, and she was crying. "Look at this poor rose," she cried. "What could have happened to it?" "I made it happen, Marigold," answered the king. "I thought you'd like to see your flowers turned into beautiful and valuable pieces of gold." "My roses are ruined," exclaimed Marigold. "They no longer smell sweet or feel like velvet. The roses might be gold, but they're no longer of any value to me. They are worthless." Like all fathers, King Midas hated to see his sweet daughter unhappy. Without thinking, he rushed over to give her a comforting hug. As soon as King Midas touched her, Marigold turned into solid gold. King Midas was shocked at what he had done to Marigold. He ran away from the golden statue that used to be his daughter. He now knew his wish had turned all that he touched into gold had been an evil curse, not a blessing. If only he could turn back time, then he could get his beautiful daughter back. Just then the mysterious stranger returned and asked, "Aren't you pleased with all of your gold?" "I was very foolish," King Midas said. "I don't care about gold anymore. I just want Marigold again. Please save my daughter, and you can have all my gold." "I do not want your gold, Midas. I just wanted to teach you a lesson. To get your daughter back, simply go to the river, bring back enough water to sprinkle over the things you turned to gold, and they will all return to normal." King Midas called out to the servants, "Gather every pail, bucket, bowl, and pitcher you can find." Then King Midas shouted, "Follow me to the river." Without another word, Midas and the servants ran to the river's edge. Quickly they filled all the pails and bowls with water and returned to the castle. King Midas went straight to Marigold and splashed water on the statue. When Midas saw Marigold change from gold back into her normal self, his heart filled with joy. King Midas was very thankful to have his daughter back. He and Marigold went outside and changed all the gold flowers back to beautiful red roses. From that day on, King Midas was happier than he had ever been before. He no longer spent his days locked away in the vault all by himself. Instead, King Midas shared time with Marigold in the garden. He cared little for gold and riches, and he saw the true beauty of the flowers, butterflies, and his most valuable treasure, Marigold. Wisdom is learning to make the right choices. This story shows us that it's not always easy to do the wise thing. King Midas loved gold and thought the more he had, the happier he would be. A wise person knows that money or gold cannot buy happiness, and that simple things can be the best. In the end, King Midas knew and grew wiser. He found out that gold did not make him happy, and that the best things in life, his daughter, flower, and warm sunshine, are free. So this afternoon, if the sun is warm, Go out and spend some time outside and see how good the free things are that God gave you. Now, for your assignment today in phonics, we have page 226, and it is called Word Search, which you've done many times before. Can you see down here at the bottom, the number is almost cut off. So look for the title, Word Search, and that should help you find the right page. In the puzzle, find 4 words that rhyme with book. Find 3 words that rhyme with hood. Circle the words and then write them on the line. And then you can see down below it says, here's for the words that rhyme with book, and here are the words that rhyme with hood. Now from our work packet, that's the stapled booklet, you're going to see a little pig doing some painting. This page number is 264. This page is talking about something that is real or something that is a fantasy. Reality, that's the big word for real, reality is something that could be true or that really could happen. Fantasy is the opposite. It is something that could not really happen. Circle the sentences that show reality, real. Then underline the sentences that are fantasy or not real. So for instance, we don't often see a pig painting, do we? I grew up on a hog farm. I've never seen a pig paint. There was my beautiful clock chiming for us. Let me read the first one for you. A pig puts on a dress. That's number 1. If you think that's real, then you circle it. If you think that's fantasy or not real, then you underline it. What do you think? A pig put on a dress. That would be fantasy, so you underline it. Do all 8 sentences. Circle reality and underline fantasy. For a guided reading, you are to pick another book. Today is Wednesday, so you get a new guided reading book. It should be the 4th one. If you've read all of them, maybe you need to do a little review, read them again. If you have a book that's for oral reading and not all chapter books, do whisper read first, ask help with any words you don't know, and then read it again a couple of times for an adult. And it doesn't have to be the same adult, and it doesn't have to be the same day. You have a few days that you can do that and practice that book. If you have a chapter book, like The Magic Tree House or The Boxcar Children, anything like that, read a couple of chapters, whatever you feel comfortable doing in one sitting. Ask your adult for words that you don't know, and then on a piece of paper, summarize your guided reading book chapters. And a summarize means just tell a few stories about what those chapters were about. All right, let's see if I have anything else in here that I have to tell you. Nope, I think that's it for our virtue lesson today. And you have your phonics and your work packet. Good job.